Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody all around the world. I would like to thank IYAP Afghanistan and IYAP Sri Lanka for coordinating this session. I'm pleased to be part of your initiative, I Inspire. Today, I have the privilege to talk about gender-based violence during COVID-19 period. I was just reviewing my diaries of January 19, exactly 4 months ago. Like many people around the world, I had my smooth routine going to school, having my coffee, meeting my friends, and having cheerful weekends. By then, only 59 positive coronavirus cases were confirmed in China. Many people were planning their trips, meetings, careers, and marriages. In the last 4 months, the COVID-19 has severely disrupted the normal functions of populations around the world. Global economy has been hotly devastated. Hundreds of arts festivals have been cancelled, and sports fans have been deprived of watching their favorite matches. A lot of people died, and many others are still at hospitals receiving medical care. And of course, a bigger number of people could defeat the virus and resume their normal life. Lockdowns brought families closer to each other, spending 24 hours together, a new life experience for many people. Though being together may seem cool, it has not been so for some people. Beyond the death tolls and overwhelmed hospitals, the COVID 19 showed another dark side: gender based and family violence. Violence against women can result in injuries and serious physical, mental, sexual, and reproductive health problems, including sexual transmitted infections, HIV, and unplanned pregnancies. In extreme cases, violence against women can result in death. Women have already been victims of violence. According to the UN, globally, around 250 million women and girls between the ages of 15 and 49 suffer physical and sexual violence by their partners. Gender based violence can be in forms of intimate partner violence, sexual abuse, violence against women and girls in humanitarian settings, emotional and economic abuse, assault by law enforcement, and cause a person to live in fear. Though lessons from Ebola and SARS pandemics helped prediction of gender-based and family violence, latest statistics and numbers of our current situation are shocking. With governments mostly engaged in responding to COVID-19 pandemic, less attention has been put in this aspect. For some women, lockdowns turned to home presence. COVID-19 period has limited access to support networks for women, making home isolation an opportunity for abusers to inflict harm on victims. According to the World Health Organization (WHO), 35% of women around the world have already experienced some form of sexual and gender based violence in their lifetime. In some crisis settings, this number skyrocketed to more than 70%. In a recent UN Women virtual meeting, 69 countries confirmed that their countries experienced surges of gender based violence in COVID-19 period. Global North was both suffering from increase of pandemic and stark increases in demands for emergency shelters. In Africa, some women were badly suffering from home violence. In the first 7 days of lockdown in South Africa, over 2,000 complaints of gender based violence were made to the police stations. By May 1, 148 people were arrested and charged with crimes relating to gender-based violence. Helpline calls have been tripled in Malaysia, Lebanon, France, Argentina, Cyprus, and Singapore. A sharp drop in calls in Italy is perceived that the lockdown also prevented many women from seeking help. Coming to Asia, in China, domestic violence reports nearly reached threefold after crises were put under lockdown, with 90% related to the epidemic. In our region, South Asia, violence has surged among families. India witnessed a threefold increase in reports of violence and requests for psychological counseling on chat apps. Aside from hotlines, members of women's organizations across Sri Lanka are also receiving personal calls about cases in their communities. Lack of privacy and safety were other challenges for women who experience violence in Sri Lanka, whereas in the past they would have called from a neighbor's or relative's house. Only in April, 4,000, only in April, 4,000 family violence complaints were registered in Pakistan, while in the previous month it was only 1,700 cases. And in my country, in Afghanistan, the situation is even worse. Although there is no specific data to show the number of violence cases and complaints, NGOs and independent groups report a surge in calls they receive requesting counseling and other forms of help. The Human Rights Watch estimated that 87% of Afghan women, I would like to repeat this one betterly, the Human Rights Watch estimated that 87% of Afghan women will experience gender based violence in their lifetime, which can give a clear picture of how the COVID 19 period could be for many women in my country. But what can be done? Gender based violence needs multiple dimensional efforts to be addressed and coped with. On global level, international organizations are expected to increase their funds for projects to address and eliminate such violence. The UN has already considered a fund for this area. Other international organizations are also expected to join this trend. On national level, the governments need to ensure protection of women and girls' rights throughout the pandemic period. They can cooperatively work with those organizations that have already focused on sexual and gender based violence and give them the tools and resources to continue supporting women and girls during the pandemic. Also, since social distancing limits the screening opportunities, these organizations should explore alternate entryways for women to access care, especially in places like supermarkets and pharmacies. NGOs and independent women's groups can play a vital role in addressing violence against women and girls. In light of this, women and girls should be involved in the development and delivery of services during COVID-19 period. Access to high quality clinics for survivors are important. Some community gatekeepers, including religious, traditional, women, and youth leaders, should play a key role in both virus and violence mitigation initiatives. They can also serve as early warning and alert groups within the community. On individual level, we are not always shifting blames or expecting from the organizations, international organizations, or governments. We are also expecting individuals. On individual level, people need to identify their friends and peers who are dealing with gender-based violence. Personal and private counseling Engaging in self-motivation initiatives, sharing experiences, and developing new skills would help people learn more about gender-based violence and ways to decrease and hopefully eliminate it. Let's take care of ourselves in this critical situation. At the same time, let's be optimistic that it will end soon. Thank you very much, everyone, for your attention and stay safe.